All right, welcome in, everybody. It is Total Bases. We're here to kick off a new week. It is Monday. I'm here with Bryan, Leonard, Tokyo Brandon, and our goal is to do what we're here to do 5 days a week, every day, 9 a.m. Eastern. Bring you solid MLB analysis and free MLB picks. The only show right now that's exclusively doing MLB free picks on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. So appreciate you guys tuning in with us, and guess we'll get right into it. I didn't have a feature game in mind per se, but I think I know what it is, Bryan, Leonard. We got to talk Cubs Brewers. This is a huge series in the NL Central. Shocking, in my opinion, that the Brewers have closed the gap as quickly as they have. Because if you go back a month, what did the Cubs have, a 6-game lead in this division? Now it looks like this race might be like one of the storylines of the second half. So Cubs Brewers, we got Mizorowski. I believe it's Matt Boyd for the Cubs. Are you getting involved with this one?
Yeah, Boyd against Mizorowski, and Boyd is actually a slight favorite right now, minus 112, 13 or something for Boyd. A lefty going against Mizorowski at home, total of 8. The problem with Mizorowski is they're trying to limit his innings for the playoffs. So as you have seen, they will pull him early after like 60 pitches. Not good for his fantasy value if you got him on your fantasy team because he doesn't get the wins. But he still has been very impressive. We'll see how this goes. Matthew Boyd comes in with a 2.20 ERA, 3.22 expected. So he's pitching over his head, but he's been terrific. Last year he had that 2.72, but he only had 8 games. This year he's up to 20 already. So he's gone from 71 innings in 2023 to only 39 last year with an injury. And now he's up to 118. So I just talked about Mizorowski limiting their innings. I'm a little bit worried about Matthew Boyd getting his innings limited at this point. He's already over what he has been for a long time. In fact, you go back in his career, right now he's at 1782 pitches thrown. You got to go all the way back to 2019 where he threw 3,100. So it's been a while since he's been up in this numbers. So I could see, even though he's got 2 great pitchers on the mound here, I could see this possibly going over. His whip is 1.01. He's got a lot of really nice numbers. Walk rate obviously being number 1 at 93, but His ground ball percentage is only in the 32nd percentile. Whiff percentage 33rd. A lot of his numbers are showing that he's been pretty lucky so far, but still he's been great, and we'll see what happens. Mizorowski, 2.45 ERA, 0.92 WHIP, 2.47 expected, 99th percentile in extension, and he's 6'7". So that makes it very hard to see. Plus his fastball velocity is in the 99th percentile. His average four-seamer is 99.3, which is about 4.5 miles an hour faster than the average right-hander. 2 very impressive pitchers, but I am worried about their limited innings. So I think we'll see the bullpens for probably 3 to 4 innings, at least for the Cubs. Cubs probably 3 innings. Milwaukee may get 4, maybe get 5 out of this. So if you do like these pitchers and you want to bet the under, I would bet the first half under as opposed to the game. It seems to be priced right for me. I don't know if I'll get involved, but I'll definitely be watching it. I love these 2 pitchers. It should be a fun game to watch.
Yeah, I agree with Bryan. Mizorowski's been great so far in his 6 starts of his MLB career. 1 bad game only against the Mets. He gave up 5, and every other start he's given up 2 or less earned runs. Excellent stuff. If you look at the expected numbers and current form, actually, I got Matthew Boyd ranked higher than Mizorowski, but like Bryan said, he's not exactly a spring chicken. He's 34 years old. So usually these guys who are over 30 tend to either limit innings or regress in the second half. Most of them. Let's see. Boyd has great stats against these Brewers, though. In his career, 33 at-bats against, 182 average against, and a 485 OPS, which is shiny. Like 750 is actually average. So I would agree on the first 5 under here. If you can get a 4.5 or alt it up to a 4.5, I certainly don't think that this game is going to be on a 1 inning pace or 1 run per inning pace in the first 5. It could get there at the end. As far as my rankings are concerned, I have the Brewers ranked slightly higher in hitting, slightly higher in bullpen, and then I got Boyd slightly higher than Milwaukee, so I won't play a side.
So 2 follow-ups to 2 things you said in regards to Mizorowski, which I think are very important. One, Tokyo Brandon pointed out his one bad start was the Mets start. That was when he kind of got jerked around with the rain. So I think he actually may have gotten rained out and maybe pushed off a day. I know that start came as part of that doubleheader against the Mets. I can't remember if it was like the second game, but long story short, he probably, that probably disrupted his, prep a little bit because there was rain, and I think he maybe got pushed a day or so on and so forth. The second thing was Bryan pointed out last week, getting pulled early, that by anything that I could find looked to be by design. Like that looked to be planned out. He had pitched 1 inning in 2 weeks. So he had made a start. He had thrown an inning 7 days later during the All-Star game. And then that start came 7 days later. So he was all smiles when he came out of that game. There was no, if you watch the game, I mean, he was in the dugout joking with, that was a pre-planned, hey, you could throw 60 straight strikes, 65 pitches were done today. So I don't even look anything into that. That was just hey, you haven't thrown much in 2 weeks. We really, because now you got to think the Brewers have had to do this probably shift in thought process where it was let's get him up. If you're Milwaukee, you got to be this is our game 1 starter in the playoffs right here. We think we have a good enough team to get to the playoffs now. And this is the guy that we want starting the big games in the playoffs. And I think you're going to see them start to manage like that a little bit now. So that's why he was out early last week. And you know what, though? I don't think that is a real reason to maybe not back him. The better reason in terms of not backing him would be, I think he's going to start getting the Paul Skeens treatment where there's just going to be zero value in doing so. Now here you could say, okay, there's a little value, you get him at a pick. But in my opinion, you're getting him the Brewers are still the lesser team. The Cubs are still going to win this division, I think. And the Cubs with Matt Boyd on the mound is still a more complete team. I think the Cubs are going to flex on some teams over the next 4 or 5 weeks where it's they had their little lull surrounding the All-Star break, and you're going to see the Cubs sort of reinforce why they maybe are the best team in the National League this year. So no shade to the Brewers, but they are, in my opinion, up against a better team, and I lean Cubs because of that. Go ahead, Bryan.
Yeah, this was the game that I mentioned last week that the coach was on the national broadcast on in baseball, and he talked about it. He said, "Yeah," he says we're going to pull them early, and when I looked, it was under 5 innings or whatever at minus 250 on his stats. But yeah, it's what happened. But I got to say, Brandon, was it Friday show that you used the Brewers on, and then all of a sudden they hit a bad weekend. So
I know.
I sure hope you don't have a play on or against the Brewers today, because that's the one team that's been giving you struggles. Mine has been
really have.
Houston Astros, and I should have been listening to a Trig over the last 3 weeks about the Astros because they continue to burn my bankroll.
Yeah, they very much look like the Sugarland Space Cowboys this weekend, which that lineup was basically Sugarland's lineup at the beginning of the year. So before we move on from this game, though, Sean is right. He says he's not going past 60 pitches. I could see him going past 60 pitches, but the point is the Brewers have to start limiting his pitches. Mark Kinson says, do we know why they're limiting his pitches? Yeah, because now the Brewers, they know that they are, if you look at the National League and where they are, they should be a playoff team this year. And that's your game. That's your game 1 starter in the playoffs. He is your ace. So the Brewers, as equally as it is important to win games, you have to get to September, or you have to get to October with Mizorowski ready to rock as your ace. If you want to win anything other than if you want to do anything other than get to the playoffs, if you want to win in the playoffs, this has to be your ace, and you've got to be able to send him out there as such. Go ahead, Bryan.
One last comment. He will not be their number one starter unless it happens to come up that way. They've already talked about their other two veterans that they're healthy now. So he'll be number 3. But he will be the best number 3 starter in baseball when it gets to the playoffs.
That's a good point, Bryan. I misspoke. I should not have said that. What I meant is he's the X factor from them being a wild card team to potentially ending up in the World Series. I should have phrased that differently. Sorry, TB. Were you going to jump in there?
No.
Okay.
Number 3 starter. Yeah, Seattle's got a pretty good one in Woo as well.
Yes.
But yeah, I mean, that's a heck of a rotation.
Yeah, that I should have phrased that differently. I mean, like, he's the X factor that could get them to like over the hump against the team like the Dodgers or the Cubs come playoff time. If they can send him out.
Sorry, yeah. For a team that's supposed to be nosediving, yeah, it's a great rotation.
Well, I just think it illustrates the point perfectly where it's like they were in a little bit of limbo and they bring him up. Like, listen, you can't expect we've seen talented guys come up. You can't expect this to happen. This is the dream. This is the Mizorowski thing is why these teams call these guys up when they do. It's why the Reds call Chase Burns up when they do, right? Like, it's like the dream is to have it all click at the big league level and then to be able to sort of be like, oh, now we've got this guy this year. We didn't expect to have him. It's like going out and signing a big time free agent. So that's, that's really what the reason for bringing that up was. All right.
Don't the Brewers also have that Henderson guy too?
They can't find a spot for him right now. I can't wait to get back up there, but
how rich is their pitching, man? The Dodgers would kill for that talent.
He pitched good again this weekend at AAA. Like he's down there and he's giving them reasons to bring them up. But like Bryan said, they're just it's an embarrassment of riches to an extent. Yeah. It's not a bad problem to have. Let's put it that way. Let's go to this game. This is an interesting one. Bryan kind of alluded to it a second ago. The A's took it out on the Astros this weekend. Nick Kurtz, one of the best performances in recent memory. 4 homers. I think he went 6 for 6 in that game. Bryan Leonard, this is a big series for the Mariners. They made the move for Naylor last week. They turned around and I think dropped 2 of 3 to the Angels. The A's come in red hot, and we've talked about the A's bunch of young kids. When they get going, they get going. And they, when they're playing good, they're playing good. When they're playing poorly, they're playing poorly. How much of last weekend do you think was the Astros finally coming back to earth and playing to their level? Or is the A's a team you want to keep riding here? Interesting series, A's Mariners. How you seeing this one?
Yeah, I think a little of both, especially the Houston coming down to earth a little bit. I am surprised a little bit about this line. Seattle's a legitimate playoff team. The A's got a pretty nice future, at least from their hitting standpoint. But Castillo on the road against Sears here. Sears a lefty. Castillo's down to like a 113, 114 favorite here, and the total is 10. I've not been a Castillo fan if you watch this at all, but still that number is a little bit cheap if you ask me. If you're looking to play Seattle, Sears has been pretty good, but he's a journeyman. He's a 4th or 5th starter for most teams. So I'm a little bit surprised about the line. So maybe there's a little bit of value here on Seattle. But Castillo, 3.30 ERA, 4.26 expected, 1.24 WHIP. The last 2 years combined, despite playing for what I consider a pretty good team in Seattle, I know wins losses don't tell the whole story, but he's 18-18. Even though he's been a really good pitcher, 3.64 ERA, 3.30. His numbers have not been good. There's really no red on his StatCast page. The best things he does is his walk rate, 67%, fastball rate, 65th. So, he's a guy that I've been looking to fade, but I don't know if I can fade him at this number. Maybe do something with the A's, maybe team total over or something to that effect. But JP Sears, 4.98 ERA, 3.95 expected, just the opposite. He's been better than what his numbers show, 1.25 WHIP. His walk rate is really the only thing he's good at. He's in the 85th percentile, only walks 5.8. His walk percentage, his strikeout percentage is 20.1. So he's got a 14.3, slightly less than league average. So we got 2 pitchers here that are okay, but I don't think they're anything special. So the total of 10 makes sense, and they can even be a little bit short because this has been a pretty good hitting ballpark. Although mostly it's been the visiting teams that have been hitting in Sacramento. Slight value on Seattle, slight value on the over. Likely not getting involved at this point. I'll give it more of a look later on. And I will say, as opposed to the games we've had over the weekend, all these games are on the evening card. And most of them have pretty good weather situations. There's only one or two that you have to worry about some rain. The Minnesota game is pretty nice all day long. And then at night, the weather is supposed to be really bad. So, and with that, if they didn't have the fans to worry about, they could easily move this game to a day game and get the game in. But I think there's going to be some stoppages in the game tonight for the Boston Minnesota game. But other than that, looks pretty clear out there.
I'm gonna kind of go against Bryan on this one because I really like the JP Sears in this one. I like how he's pitched. He's got 109 at bats against the Seattle lineup. He's got a 165 average against and a 482 OPS. That's amazing. I realized that he's kind of dropped off. Like two or 3 years ago, Sears was like just really dealing, but he's kind of fallen off a cliff a little bit. I think he can recover though. I think he can hold Seattle down quite a bit. I like Castillo's numbers. I agree with Bryan in the fact that Castillo's kind of on a downward trajectory in his career. He's not the lights out K master that he used to be, but he's a very respectable innings eater right now. I mean, he quietly holds teams to, if you look at his last 5 starts, it's 3 earned, 0 earned, 3 earned, 0 earned, 1 earned. He's actually got quality starts in most of his starts this season. So I like how he's performing. So I kind of like the under on this one. I realize the park is like a little a Nintendo park here where the balls do tend to fly. But I think 10's a little high here considering the pitchers have good numbers. And looking at the bullpens, I have both of these bullpens ranked 13 or better out of 30 teams. So I think I'll look at an under in this one.
Russell in the comments says Adam glows when he talks about the A's. Yeah, I don't have children, but I have to feel like this is similar to like when you see your kid go out and like play a good game or they do something to make you proud. I feel like it's like similar to that because before the season, I talked this team up. I think I gave out Jacob Wilson Rookie of the Year on a show somewhere, which is proved to be a good bet based on like where that is in the market now. If you listen to my breakdowns even last year into this year, I was already talking about all these kids, Nick Kurtz and like that are now up and playing well. And I still think I'm going to end up being right about the A's exceeding their market position, meaning getting their season win total over. But on a day-to-day basis, they've been value. And if you've been able, so that the tough part about the A's is that they'll go on these stretches where they are terrible for a couple weeks at a time. If you've been able to sort of like meander with them and like try to catch them when they're playing good ball and then leave them when they're on one of these ruts where they lose 9 of 10, I bet you've done pretty well, betting the A's this year because it has been feast or famine for this team. It's why I can't bet the Mariners here. Even like Ethan Bainbridge says, I like the Mariners in this game, his favorite spot on the card. If the A's weren't red hot right now, I would agree with you. Like Bryan's brought it up a couple times this year. Very much agree that the Mariners profile is a better team on the road. And what a good ballpark for the Mariners, a team that really is reliant on the home run ball. And a lot of what they do is, a lot of their run production's predicated on hitting home runs. Couldn't ask for a better ballpark for that because the ball will get out of this park relatively easily. But I'm not going against the A's until they lose because when you have young teams, go back, like, what was it, 4 weeks ago, 5 weeks ago, everyone's like, oh, Marlins, the loss is coming. The loss is coming. What did they rattle off 8 or 9 in a row? The A's and the Marlins are very similar teams. It's all young guys. We don't truly know. We don't really know what the ceiling of a Nick Kurtz is yet. I mean, he could be a league MVP. Like, he is literally that good where we don't really know the ceiling. I mean, the A's could be sitting on like a couple of guys that are like legitimate all-star, Lawrence Butler, Kurtz, Jacob Wilson. So how do you really appropriately price this team? But if the books are going to continue to just give you plus money with them, I feel like you either have to take it or pass, or wait for them to start playing poorly where you're like, okay, they're unraveling. Now they're having bad at-bats. Now I can go against them. With that being said, I'd have to go with the over. I disagree on the total here, TB. I have to go with the over because the Mariners, they fit better in this park from a run production standpoint. And even though the A's don't hit left-handed pitching particularly well, they're hitting well right now. And I think that they get their part. So I kind of like the over here. Go ahead, Bryan.
Well, Seattle, you mentioned they were similar. Seattle's pitching staff is tremendous. The A's pitching staff is terrible. And when you see young teams like the White Sox have put it together some pretty good ball games now, you see more variance as the season goes on, as you pointed out. The younger the team is, the more ups and downs you're going to have. Unfortunately, in baseball this year, there's been a lot of ups and a lot of winning streaks and losing streaks going on for some of these teams, but very streaky this year. And I can see not one, it's a young team, as you pointed out, that is starting to gain confidence. So, yeah, I understand that. Which is why I'll probably sit this one out.
Yeah, I kind of think I'm going to sit it out too, because I there's a lot of great points being made here. And that's another thing. Like, we talk about a game like Tokyo Brandon brings up JP Sears and his numbers against the Mariners. Yeah, you can't ignore that his numbers against the Mariners being
you
good.
said it right.
But you can't, that's things that you can't ignore. And he's like the kind of guy that will, like, when he can come out and sort of has all his stuff working, like, he can give you 6 innings, 2 runs, and suddenly have his team in the game. So yeah, that's but the A's profile better against right-handed pitching. They really could light Castillo up tonight. Wouldn't be that surprised about that. So it's an interesting game. Tough one. I don't know if I'll be involved with this one, but it's certainly a lot of good talking points there. And yeah, that's let's move on. Oh, okay. 5 people have asked for it. I see Sean is back today. Tigers got off they broke the streak, even though Sean on Twitter canceled the season days ago. He said, we're on to football season. He's on to the Lions. The season's over.
Oh, now the Lions are going to win the Super Bowl.
Okay. You know what? They actually very well might. This might,
Oh,
I mean,
geez.
they could be the Super Bowl favorite right now. I wouldn't argue with that one bit. Bryan Leonard, I don't think the season's over for the Tigers by any means. They got off the schneid, as Berman used to say yesterday, finally won a game. They're 15 games over 500, and they still have an 8-game lead in the division, which is Little Sisters of the Poor, basically, the rest of the rest of that division. None of those teams, Guardians, Royals, Twins, White Sox, are winning that division. So your Detroit Tigers will be in the playoffs. I don't think it will be particularly close. Do you think this is where they sort of make their ascent back to double-digit lead and putting this division away?
Yeah, that's the problem with being a fan, is you get disappointed if a team doesn't play as well as you expect them on an everyday basis. And no, they have not been playing well. But no, this season is still in good shape for the Tigers. As long as they've got Skubal and he's healthy, this is a team that's the best team in this division. Although I do like some of the moves that the Royals have been making as of late. I don't think they're going to lose this division. Rodriguez going for Arizona. He's a lefty going against Melton for Detroit. Detroit's about 126, 127 favorite here. Total of 9 to the under. Eduardo Rodriguez on the season, 5.50 ERA, 4.31 expected, 1.65 whip. Last 2 years, his whip has really hurt him. 1.65 this year, 1.50 the season before. What he does good, hard hit percentage, 88th percentile, average exit velocity, 71st. But he's got a lot of negativity here. Fastball velocity is not what it used to be. It's only 92.0. And he throws that fastball 45% of the time. Now, he does have 6 pitches, but the slider, 7%, curve, 1%. Cutter is 18. Cutter changed and four-seamer. And I don't like to back guys who are less than league average in a four-seamer miles per hour. But he is a lefty, and that helps him a little bit about that. But his numbers have not been great. He has been a disappointing sign for Arizona. Troy Melton coming in, just his second start for Detroit. Didn't work out very well in the first game. 10.80 ERA, 7.72 expected, 1.80 whip. I think things would be better for him as he goes on. But that first start in the major leagues is always a concern, especially if you're a righty. He does have that nice fastball, 97 miles an hour, and he does throw 6 pitches. And he throws the fastball only 29% of the time. That's something I like. So from a pitching standpoint, I prefer the Tigers a little bit here over Arizona. Arizona, we talked about this last Friday, that this is a team either selling or looking to sell, and they've already gotten rid of Naylor, and a lot of other guys are on the chopping block for Arizona. I prefer the Detroit side here, but I don't know enough about Melton to know how long he's going to go. They've got a pretty good bullpen in Detroit. So I'm leaning Detroit here, and I want to fade Rodriguez. I don't know if they'll get there at this line. It's a little bit higher than what I liked, but I'm still leaning a little bit with Detroit.
So I don't know much about the Melton guy, and I agree with Bryan that Detroit's bullpen is performing quite well. Their lineup is ranked 30 out of 30 right now. Arizona's is ranked 23, but I got Eduardo Rodriguez on a curve of 30, ranked 25, so not much faith in him. So I'm definitely going to stay away from this game. There's too many X factors, but I'm going to take a minute here to say, please visit our pages, you guys, because we always put free plays up, and we're the best baseball cappers in the world. Go to our pages and check what we have out for free and check what we have for sale. Go to the replay, comment, and like. We would appreciate it. Tell Wager Talk you love baseball and you love our show. Adam.
Yeah, I have a 5% play tonight. Should have probably brought that up at some point. But yeah, it's on my page. Just probably as bad of a promo as you could possibly imagine right there. But keep it simple. As far as this game is concerned, I'll talk about Troy Melton. He's well up on my rankings as far as starters at AAA this year. And so if you want to talk about length, he's going the full. It's a full start. I mean, he's been pitching 6-7 innings at AAA. He's not out there. I mean, the only way he's out early is if he gets knocked around. And I don't have any faith in the Diamondbacks knocking anyone around right this second, because that was so I lost with Arizona on Saturday, and I could not believe how mentally not there they were in that game, especially after winning the extra inning game on Friday night. I thought the Friday night extra innings win was what was going to kind of like get the juices flowing, and they were more concerned about hugging Randall Grichuk on Saturday in the dugout than they were about playing a baseball game. And I mean, Eugenio Suarez came up at one point with the game on the line. It's like a 2-0 game. I mean, he swung at 3 pitches that were not even remotely close to the strike zone. So I'll go back to Tokyo Brandon was right about this. And I have to go back to last week's conversation and really, like, you were right. Like, the Diamondbacks do not look like they're in the mental state to play a game right now. Like, they're just, and yesterday totally checked out. Now I will circle back, because I do think when the dust settles, and if those young guys are up, if they've got like Tim Tao in the lineup, if Jordan Lawler ever comes back, guys just hurt every year for long stretches, then maybe you've got a little bit of a chance to buy low with Arizona. But yeah, right now, on all accounts, if you've watched them the last really all weekend, they won that game on Friday 1-0. They're just not mentally there. And I'm starting to buy into maybe they're just, they're checked out. They're mailing it in a little bit. They don't know. The veterans don't know who's leaving at this point. And you're not going to go on the road and beat the Tigers, especially a Tigers team that just got smacked around by the Blue Jays for 4 days, basically. Yeah, they salvaged yesterday, but they still lost that series. They lost the series before. I think you get a very motivated Tigers team on their home field here. And this is one I've had my eye on today. So have not played this yet, but I'm going to put this in the parlay. Bryan Leonard, go ahead, and then also tell me what line I can get on this game.
Sean Michael, I appreciate your fandom for the Tigers, but Kerry Carpenter went 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts yesterday. They scored 10 runs without him. So I understand his value on this team, but he did nothing yesterday.
Yeah, but Bryan, don't you just think him being in the lineup is huge for them? Just him literally, like, I feel like he makes that lineup turnover and everything's better when he's in that lineup.
He's definitely a good player. They need him in the lineup, but he doesn't play against lefties, and he didn't do well yesterday. He's definitely somebody that you want in the lineup, but I'm just pointing out that he had nothing to do with them scoring 10 runs. Right now, we're looking at Detroit. Did take a little bit of money since we just spoke about it. Probably about a 128 favorite.
Okay.
So
that works.
If that's what you're looking for, that's 128 right now.
Yeah, and I was actually I was hoping that might go the other way a little bit because Arizona did take some money in that Pirates series on a couple of occasions. So that's why I haven't played it yet. I was kind of like hoping that someone would come in and see underdog price, not really know who Troy Melton is and decide to drive the price down. But right now, Melton's probably the more desirable of the two pitchers. And again, he is someone I've been super impressed with in the minors this year. I don't put a ton of stock into the Pirates start, which was his big league debut, not going like as planned. I think he's going to be fine. He's a really good pitcher. And I think in that organization too, Hinch tends to know when a guy needs to come out. He presses the buttons as well as anyone. So yes. I think Melton's going to pitch well tonight, and I'll take the Tigers for the parlay. Good week for the parlay last week. We're back up, even losing it on Friday. We're back up plus 11.4 units on the season, or $11.40 for every dollar. And over the next 28 minutes, we'll be locking in 2 other legs. So don't go anywhere. This will be a 3-teamer by the time we get off the show. Let's move on. We had someone in the chat asking about the Giants and if it was going to be a bullpen game. I don't believe so. It looks like they're going to call up Carson Whisenhunt to make his big league debut. Giants last night felt like they had that one, Bryan Leonard. I thought they were going to salvage one from the Mets. Matt Chapman putting the team on his back, and they just couldn't get it done. So Giants kick off a new series here. Why am I blanking on who they're playing? Jesus Christ. I just had this game in my head. I'm blanking out.
Keller?
Who is their opponent?
Mitch Keller.
Mitch Keller. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Pirates are out on the West Coast. It's Carson Whisenhunt. It's Mitch Keller. Kick us off, Bryan Leonard.
To me, San Francisco's a much better team than Pittsburgh is. They're going with Whisenhunt. He's a lefty. I like lefties their first month or so in major leagues, and sometimes even longer if they perform well. Right now, the current line, Whisenhunt and the Giants are about a 130 favorite and a total of 8. That would be a cheap line for me. Mitch Keller's a guy who is what he is, and there's been talk about some pretty good teams. The Mets have been in discussions with bringing him to New York. I'd love to see him pitch in that ballpark, although he pitches in a good pitching ballpark right now in Pittsburgh. But as good as he is, the Pirates are only 4-10 in those games. He's very similar to Skeens, where they just doesn't get a lot of run support. Comes in with a 3.53 ERA, 3.81 expected, 1.16 whip, all pretty nice numbers. His whiff rate is only in the 10th percentile, though. Strikeout rate 26. He's not going to blow you away in that regard, but he doesn't walk a lot of batters. 85th percentile, barrel rate 75th percentile. He's been pretty good this year. Carson Whisenhunt for the Giants, a lefty, 24 years old, 6'3". He pitches for the Sacramento River Cats, same stadium as the Sacramento A's play in. Interesting when you take a look at his stats, and he's highly thought of in that organization, but he's always been a guy who just blew past more than one strikeout per inning. Last year, he pitched in Sacramento, 135 strikeouts in only 104 innings. His other seasons in the lower minors, all more than one strikeout per inning. He's been very good. Now, this year, he's a little bit different. is his ERA is 4.42, which is really, when you're playing in that ballpark after games, isn't bad. But in 97 innings, he's only struck out 86 batters, but he's only walked 28. Last year, he walked 53 and only 7 innings more. So he's been more of trying to get his control down. That was probably what the management said: get your control down and don't walk as many batters, and you can get you can get up there. So his whip is at 133, which isn't actually that bad when you pitch in the PCL. So I'm interested in seeing him pitch. He's a lefty. I think he'll have success against this Pittsburgh offense. And I think there might be some value here on San Francisco, but they're really struggling. You mentioned the 2 home runs yesterday, but this San Francisco offense has been dead for a while. So I think the Giants are a better team, and it would not surprise me for them to break out of this against Pittsburgh and win a series and get on a run. But they're not playing well right now, which makes me very tentative about putting my money on them.
So here's an interesting statistic about the Pirates. They're the number 4 under team in MLB, and more than 33% of the games they've played today have ended in a shutout, either for them or against them. So they are a team that really like unders. I don't have confidence betting for or against a pitcher who's making his MLB debut because, as I've said in shows previous, they could either go 5 innings shut down, or they could get blown up for 8 runs in the first inning. We saw that with the Reds guy, Burns, got blown out. Now he's coming back. But I mean, I just don't really like to, it's kind of an X factor for me. So I will probably stay away from it, but I kind of like the first 5 under here because it's 4.5. I feel like doing it, but I don't really want to. The Pirates are just such a huge under team. I'm so tempted to take the under. If I had confidence that the Wisenhunt guy could hold his ground, I would like to take an under, but haven't done it yet.
Yeah, if I had confidence that Wisenhunt was going to pitch well, I'd like to take the Giants. I haven't done it yet, and for a lot of the same reasons. Like, Bryan makes a good point. He makes a good point about the difference from last year to this year. So, like, I'll just talk about Wisenhunt for a second. He's the guy. Like, if you were look at all the pitching prospects in the Giants organization, he is their guy right now. He's the one that they've been trying to protect. He was the one that was having a really good season when he got to AAA last year, and it spent almost all year at AAA last year, and they didn't really want to sort of force him up, because he is usually we talk about this off air, Bryan and I. Typically, the top prospect, your top pitching prospect, you either don't want to bring up, or it's a Mizorowski or Chase Burns situation where you're like, F it. We're going to see if they can, potentially come up and then be like our number 2, number 3 starter. So the Giants have been hesitant to bring Wisenhunt up for that reason. I thought we would have seen him earlier this year. And I think the reason we haven't goes to what Bryan's saying. The strikeouts are down. He's catching too much of the plate at AAA. The command's better. He's not walking anyone, but suddenly he's too much over the plate. Batting average against is now 273 against him, and he's given up some hard contact. So that would be like my only real concern. Now, having him come to the big league level is you're gonna get punished for making mistakes. That being said, if there was a team that wasn't going to punish a mistake, it's probably the Pittsburgh Pirates, who have had one of the lowest WRC pluses of any team in Major League Baseball this season. So it's a tough one because I could absolutely see him, kind of keeping this Pirates lineup at bay. The Pirates are not in the PCL, which means none of these guys have seen him at the AAA level. I'd be far more concerned if this was like the Giants playing, let's say, the Astros or the A's or like the Rockies, like a team that's seen him a ton. That would be more concerning to me because the PCL, you see everyone a bunch. There's only 10 teams in the league. So I think I'm okay with Wisenhunt here based on the fact that the Pirates haven't seen him, and the Pirates, they have a hard time like punishing mistakes. It's not like they hit particularly well this weekend, sort of took 2 of 3 off Arizona, but because Arizona didn't hit at all. So I do think this is where the Giants snap their losing streak. So I like the Giants and Tokyo. Brandon, I can't put you off that under because I think Wisenhunt holds his own here.
Good then.
Yeah, and there was one other. Yeah, I forget. I thought I had one other thing to say, but we'll move on. So we'll move on to. There's a bunch of games popping up in the chat. This is a pretty solid Monday here.
Yes.
Big slates the last couple of Mondays. Sean, yes, I'll have to double check. I'm like 98% sure this is Carson Wisenhunt's major league debut. And while I'm finding the next game, Victoria, yeah, last night was a bullpen game for the Giants, and the starter, Matt Gage, Siena College Saint. We don't get many big leaguers out of my alma mater, Siena College. I could probably count on two hands how many guys have made the MLB out of our school. Matt Gage is one of them. So shout out to Matt Gage. He did come out of the bullpen and start that game for Arizona last night. Will says money is rolling in on the Red Sox. Think they win today. This is an interesting one. And Bryan Leonard, I think this is one you said there might be some rain in the forecast we have to look for. But at any rate, how are you seeing this one? Because I'm very interested in this matchup, Red Sox Twins.
A couple of things here. Before we get to that one, San Francisco game tonight with Pittsburgh. From a weather standpoint, no precipitation at all, but it is going to be cold. It starts at 61, probably ends at 59 for the weather part. But the wind's blowing out at 16 miles an hour. Now, we've seen in the last week blowing out at 10 miles an hour, and it doesn't seem to matter. But 16 is blowing out pretty good. But this is the one stadium where it could probably blow out 30 and wouldn't make much difference. I hate to be a player playing in that wind in San Francisco. But as for the weather in Minnesota, yes, let's get back to that. It has 1% chance of rain all the way up until 7 p.m. The game starts at 8, then it's 24, 55, 80, 79, 78. So a lot of rain after this game starts. So I don't think we're going to see either one of these pitchers going very long. Temperatures starts at 88 and then starts to drop about 10 degrees since after that. So that is a concern in this one. We have got Fitz against Woods Richardson, and Woods Richardson and Minnesota is about a 110 favorite right now. We're looking at 9.5 to the under, about 115, 120. Fitz and Woods Richardson. Fitz is a guy who, very similar to a couple of the other guys, Dobbins, who has looked good and then he gets hurt, and that's the problem that Fitz has had. Now Dobbins is out for the season. Fitz comes in 4.86 ERA, 4.99 expected, 1.27 WHIP. His numbers are better than his actual stats. Chase percent 94th percentile, walk rate 79th, extension 70th. His problem is he is getting hit hard in the barrel rate. He's in the 10th percentile in barrel percentage, 13th in expected ERA, 20th in hard hit percentage. I liked him coming into the season, but because of injuries and other guys in the rotation, he just can't get that rhythm going. Simeon Woods Richardson, he's pitched much better as of late, comes in with a 4.14 ERA, 4.23 expected, 1.37 WHIP. But his extension is good in the 70th percentile, but everything else is blue on his StatCast page. His ground ball rate, 8th percentile, so he gives up a lot of fly balls. Barrel rate 13th, walk rate 23rd. So these are two pitchers that I think could get hit here in Minnesota. The problem is, I don't know how long they're going to be in this game because of the rain, and it's tough to make decisions on a game where you come in and you basically know there are going to be stoppages in the game. So I'd prefer to bet this game over, but without knowing the situation with who's going to all play and the whole thing. It's rather be a game that I would rather pass on. There's a lot of other games today, as you mentioned, pretty good Monday card, but I don't have enough on this one to put my own money on.
So everyone go to our pages again and grab our plays. I have an MLB play out. Bryan will have one out. Adam has a 5%. So go to our pages and grab our plays. We also post a lot of free plays, so go grab those as well. So the Red Sox bats are really dead right now. I have them ranked 23 out of 30, and I have the Twins ranked slightly under 15 out of 30. So the thing is, the Boston bullpen is pitching really good. I have them ranked 3. So usually when I see that, it makes me say I want to bet an under here. But I'm exactly with Bryan. There's a lot of X factors here, so I am not going to bet this game. But I'll just give you my rankings for the Twins as well. I have their bullpen ranked 21st out of 30, which is not very good. Lineup 16. That's about where the Twins always are. Very middle of the road. I got Simeon Woods, Richardson ranked 15, and I don't have a ranking for Fitz because he hasn't pitched enough innings the last 30 days. So not even going to touch this one. So go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, I'm very much in agreement with Bryan. I like the over. That's how I would play this one. I think if you can get that juiced 9, I don't know what the juice is on that, but I see a bunch of 9.5 evens, which if you're at the some of the other shops, like the legal US based ones, will give you that 9, maybe like over 9 minus 125. I definitely think that's a good bet. Bryan makes a good point about the rain. You have to maybe worry about them being taken out. Tokyo Brandon points out the Red Sox offense hasn't done much. Well, what do you expect? Their last 10 games or their last 9 games at Chicago, at Cubs, at Phillies, and then Dodgers at home. Like, you want to talk about a 9-game stretch that might kill your offense a little bit? Basically just played the 3 best teams in baseball, or three of the top 5 or 6 teams. So now you're going to get Simeon Woods Richardson. That should be a field day, because Simeon Woods Richardson is not a top caliber MLB starter. Bryan pointed out some of the, he doesn't give up. He gives up a lot of fly balls. A lot of blue on the Saban page. Yeah, and the thing is, like, I was high on him 2 years ago or a year ago, but now, like, he's got a big enough sample at the big league level where he's only a guy I really care. I'm really interested in fading. So I fully expect the Red Sox to hit better in this series, just based on the fact they're not going to be up against like big time aces. And then for the Twins, like, their top relievers are very strong. But there is some chances for offense in the middle of that Twins bullpen. So to comment on the rain situation, well, if Simeon Woods Richardson is out early here, I still think the Red Sox maybe can generate some offense until you get to the guys like the Johan Durans, Griffin Jacks. That's the tough part of the Twins bullpen. On the other side, listen, Richard Fitz, like, he does have some redeeming qualities. He gets some swing and miss, but my gut tells me he's going to trend toward being a Simeon Woods Richardson at the big league level. I just don't have like super high hopes for him. He's not someone that ever really popped for me at AAA. And then all of a sudden he was kind of in the big leagues. I'm sure the Red Sox know more about that than me. But like, I've watched him pitch enough at Worcester, and then in the few big league starts the last couple of years, where like, he's just not like overly, like, I don't have him super highly rated. So the Twins, who lose yesterday to the Nationals, you like to think they can bounce back a little bit from that. I think this one gets to 9. I mean, you're talking about needing 4 each way. If you can get that juiced 9, I gotta like the total right there. Very much agreeing with Bryan. I think there's going to be offense. All right, let's keep it going. Titan CT, yeah, bad weather in Minneapolis. Yeah, maybe the game doesn't even get in. I thought I saw that they would probably get the game in, but who knows? Danzo, I don't think the Yankees are even going to make the playoffs, to be honest with you. Well, you echo the sentiment of every Yankee fan who's melting down this weekend. I know this firsthand because my Siena College group chat is full of them. With the exception of a couple of Mets fans, like, basically everyone that went to Siena either lived in the capital region like me or came up from like Long Island, New York City, Westchester. So they're all Yankee fans, some Met fans. My group chat leans Yankees, Bryan Leonard, and of the 13 or 14 of us that are in there that are all college buddies. And the melting down was really starting over the weekend, from the time that they traded for Ryan McMahon to, through that game on Sunday. The meltdown was happening. I don't know, Bryan. Is the Yankee season over? Do they just bounce back here against the Rays? What do you think?
Well, their season is not over, but you do have some concerns about Judge. Initial reports were saying that he may be out for the season. Now they're looking at it. He's looking for other ways to deal with it. But yeah, when you lose the best pure hitter in baseball, that is a concern. Plus some of the other guys, you take a look at that lineup. It's pretty weak when you get out of the top 5 or 6 guys. So that is a concern. And they really wanted Suarez, and they didn't get him. Arizona was just asking for too much. So they had to settle for a Colorado Rocky. And anytime you trade for a Rocky, and you have to be concerned. Now, he's gotten off to a pretty good start for the Yankees, but half of your stats are in Colorado, and he's been in Colorado for a long time. So, the Yankees, it's not going as well as Yankee fans would like. They're going against Rasmussen against Schlitter. And I don't want to say Schlitter again because I know I'm going to screw it up. But the Yankees are about a 128 favorite here, total of 8.5. Has gone down from, it was at 9 for the opener. So money's coming on the under here. Rasmussen, they decided to keep him in the rotation. I think they pulled him a little early last time, but he comes in with a 2.93 ERA, 3.61 expected, 1.03 whip. He is a really underrated pitcher overall, but you don't know how many innings you're going to get out of him today. Last 3 years, his ERA is 2.93, 2.83, 2.62, in 6 seasons, 2.95 ERA, 1.05 whip. Because of his injuries and because he doesn't rack up a lot of innings, this year's at 95. Last year was at 28. The year before, 44, which is why they've been pulling him early, and they don't want him to get hurt. But when he pitches, he's great, and he's pitching today. So I like the situation with him going against this diminished Yankees offense. Ground ball percentage, 87th percentile, which is something you always have to keep in mind when you're playing in Yankee Stadium. The barrel rate, 85th percentile, walk rate, 80th. I really like Rasmussen. When you take a look at the Yankees, they're going with Schlitter, as I mentioned, and he's had limited innings so far. He's only pitched 10 innings. He got his 10 strikeouts, but 4.35 ERA, 3.48 expected, 1.55 whip. Fastball velocity, 94th percentile. He's very good in that regard. 97.8% on his four-seamer, but he does throw it 52% of the time. He may have a good enough fastball to get away with that because he's so young at 24. But as he goes on, he needs to develop his other pitches a little bit better. He's got 5 pitches, but his slider, he throws 28% of the time. I kind of like Tampa Bay in this game. In fact, I think I'm going to use that as my parlay piece right here. It's just that I don't really see anything jumping out at me today. And I know the Yankees offense is taking a big hit without having Judge in there. So let's play Tampa Bay as my parlay here. We're looking at, let's go 113. Plus 113 here, Tampa Bay on the road. Hopefully, this is one of those teams that as the season's going on, they've either been a really good hitting team or a terrible hitting team. I like the coaching in Tampa Bay. I think it's much better than I've been over like Boone as a coach for the Yankees. So let's go with Tampa Bay here at plus 113 will be my part of the parlay.
So I was going to make this game my parlay piece, but a different direction than Bryan, but I don't think we can use the same game in the parlay. But I was going to go Yankees team total under 4.5, but I have another backup, so don't worry about that. But I totally agree with Bryan's sentiments here on Rasmussen. And actually, Bryan, his name is more difficult than you're actually saying it. His name is actually Schlittler. So there's an extra L in there to even make it more tongue twisting and more dangerous to say on air. So, if you'll excuse me, I have to go to the Schlittler for a minute. How's that sound? Anyways, I was going to use the Yankees because without Judge, they're hitting towards the bottom of the rankings in MLB. I know they did beat the Phillies, but they're ranking less than 20 out of 30 teams. Rasmussen, as you said, he sometimes gets pulled early, but they have a pretty good bullpen there. My only concern is the Yankees play really good at home, or really well at home, shall I say. So that concerns me for the Yankees team total, but that would be the only way I would go here. Yeah, even Tampa Bay to win or the Yankees team total under would be how I would go. But I do have a different game for my parlay, which we'll bring up in a minute.
Yeah, I'll be quick on this one. I don't disagree with Bryan. I don't have much of a play. I realize we're like 5 minutes away from the end of the show, and I want to give TB's game like the full rub. So all I'm going to say to the initial poster that we brought up, the original question, I don't think the Yankees are going to have any trouble making the playoffs. More and it's not a pro Yankee statement. I just don't see how 3 teams catch them, because now if they were in the National League, yeah, they might be in trouble. But right now, like, are the Red Sox, Mariners, and Rangers all going to chase them down? I guess you could throw the Rays in the mix there too. No, like, that's just not happening. I'd be shocked. I would be absolutely shocked. And this comes from someone at the beginning of the season gave out on a couple shows Yankees to not make the playoffs. I think it was like plus 280 or something. I'd love to see it happen. I just don't think that there's 3 teams. Like Titan CT says the Red Sox are coming. Yeah, someone might catch them for that top wild card spot. But now that you've got 3 teams that make the wild card, I will be very surprised if someone catches them. Go ahead, Bryan.
Well, the Yankees right now are 543 win percentage with Judge. Red Sox 533. We've got Seattle in second place at 528 and the Rangers at 528. I like their starting pitchers for the Mariners and the Rangers a lot better. I'm in agreement. I don't think the Yankees, unless they go out in free agency and make some big trades, I don't think the Yankees will make the playoffs.
Like I said, I'd love to see it happen. It would make that futures bet from the beginning of the season a winner, but feel like they just find a way to turn it on. And then this is coming from someone that can't stand this team. I'm very anti, like, I've never been a Yankee fan. So, like, you know, having to listen to like all the buddies chirp about how great they are, I'd love nothing more than to see the Yankees miss the playoffs. Tokyo Brandon, what game are we closing the show out with?
Okay, let's close it with the Blue Jays and Orioles. We've got, do you want to start, Bryan, or should I just go?
No, you just go
ahead.
Okay, so we got Bassett going against Eflin. I don't have enough numbers on Eflin, but I do know that I don't really like him very much. I like the Blue Jays here, and I think the line is somewhere around 125. No way this team should be. The books are sliding the Blue Jays so much, and like you guys are talking about, the Yankees might not make the playoffs. The Blue Jays are the main reason they might not make the playoffs, because they're probably going to take this division. And the Red Sox are probably going to be number 2. So that's how it's looking to be right now. But, you know, anything can happen. Judge is probably going to come back next week. So they put him on the 10-day, right? And then Boone's already talking about when he comes back, he's going to be a DH and not play the field. So I think Judge will be back sooner than later. But anyway, back to this game. Bassett worries me on the road. And actually, he doesn't have really good numbers against these Orioles. So there's a couple red flags, but the Orioles bullpen is so bad. And Toronto is just smashing the ball. They're just on fire. And their bullpen is top 3 right now. I got Bassett ranked 12 out of 30 on a curve of 30 starting pitchers. I do realize that he hasn't performed well against the Orioles, and he's not a good road pitcher, but I think he's still better than Eflin. And no other way I could go than the Blue Jays here.
The number on this right now, Toronto is only a 105 favorite. It's like a pick 'em right now. So you're getting a good number there. My question, and you do the head-to-head. Eflin's been faced Toronto a lot in his career. What is the career numbers against Zach Eflin for Toronto?
They're not listed. I can't find them anywhere.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I don't know is the only answer. But I know he's not a very good pitcher.
Well, he was hurt and he came back from injury and pitched pretty well in his first game back. I do like Eflin. He's not a big strikeout guy, but you usually get pretty good value when you play those kind of guys. And I was just curious against Toronto what he had done. I don't use that values for myself, but just but yeah, the price on Toronto, considering how hot they are, is pretty cheap. Sometimes that tells you something, and that's what I'm always worried
Sometimes
about.
it's a trap. Yeah. Blue Jays are a decent team on the road. I think they're 26-26, where actually the Orioles are 24-26 at home. So home away doesn't really factor into it as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I mean, the way they're hitting and the way their bullpen is performing, I couldn't go any other way, really.
Yeah, I'm gonna just go back to the comment from Slick Vic here. Yankees, he's saying Yankees are plus 400 to miss the playoffs. I think that's a great bet. I did not realize that. I did not realize that the Yankees were like that bet was priced like that, because prior to the season, it was like plus 280, which I thought was a really good bet coming into the season. The fact that you can get Yankees plus 400 now, pretty much knowing they're not going to win their division. Like, I'm sorry, they're just not catching the Blue Jays. I don't think they are. Great bet. Yankees plus 400 to miss the playoffs is a very good bet at the price point. TB, sorry, read me your parlay leg with the price again, so I can do some.
It would be the Blue Jays money line at -105.
-105.
In regards to Judge coming back, I mean, he's a good defensive player too. He's got a gun, and he obviously, without him in right field, that's going to hurt them defensively. Obviously, you're worried about his bat being in the lineup, but he's got one of the best guns in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest. Like,
the field when he comes back, so
I looked at the original poster. I gotta like. No, that was a very valid comment. I think I like looked at the standings and I said, okay, are these these four teams really going to jump them? Like I saw the Guardians creeping into the mix. Sorry, Brian, they're not making the playoffs. So I was just like, man, like 3 or 4 teams are going to have to play good ball to jump them. But it's possible. I mean, 4-1. That is crazy. I would have thought it was more like plus 150. I would have thought my preseason number on that was better than the number now. So the fact that they're going to give you 4-1 is crazy with how close. Yeah, Slick Vic. I think he was the one that brought it up, or one of the people that chimed in with how close the wild card is right now. The only reason I'm harping on it is I think that's like probably the best bet I've given out on the show so far today. Like, if you have the means to bet futures, or you have a credit account, you can get that down on like confidently, and you can get 4-1 on the Yankees to miss the playoffs. That is a fantastic bet. Okay, we are at the end of the show. We've got to read off the parlay. Very simple today, boys. 3 sides. Let's get it home. 3 sides plus 640. That's actually really good. Bryan helping out with the odds. The Rays plus 113. Now I got to root. We're definitely rooting for that. I'm going to be going to look to add to the Yankees to miss the playoffs bet as soon as we get off the show. So hopefully his Rays get it done today. Plus 113. Tokyo Brandon is on the Blue Jays -105. And it's the Tigers for me. I think I'm going to become like the newest Tigers fan now, because I feel like the market's abandoned them. So I'm with Sean in the chat. I'm very pro Tigers, at least for the foreseeable future. So once again, 3 sides: Tigers, Jays, Rays. That three-teamer is plus 640. So let's start the week off with a parlay win. Had a good week with the parlays last week. Hit 2 of them. So hopefully we're hitting here. Head on over to the Wager Talk YouTube channel if you want to catch the replay, but also to drop a like and subscribe on the page. We appreciate it. And a comment, as Tokyo Brandon said. We appreciate it. It helps us grow the show. I've got a 5%er tonight. The boys have plays up. You can find all of that at wagertalk.com, and you can find us back here tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. for another episode of Total Basis. Have a great day, everyone. We'll see you guys tomorrow.